This is Stutenberg, and I'm creating this training video for IDT534, Professional Development Activity 1. This training video is going to cover an introduction and explanation of the Quizlet website. The purpose of the training is to expose instructors to the Quizlet website and illustrate the potential possibilities for improved student learning. Intended audience. This tutorial is intended for K-12 educators. The training is not specific to a content area and should prove beneficial to educators regardless of their grade level or their content area. Participants will need a general understanding of the Internet and basic website interface. Quizlet is an Internet site that is used by millions of teachers and students every day. The site doesn't really build curriculum or content, but rather what it does is it supplies software that allows students to review using engaging activities. So the training video is going to start with basic background information on Quizlet. We're going to follow with how the program can improve the instruction and the retention of topics that are covered in class. We're then going to transition to general website interface, look at how to develop an account, and finally create a basic set. Followed by the training activity, participants will be asked to create their own Quizlet account and create a basic review set for the content in one of their courses. So with the Windows screen open, the first thing that we'll need to do is we'll need to open a browser. The browser that I've chosen to utilize for this training video is Google Chrome. Once Google Chrome is opened, we need to move to the Quizlet site. If you enter www.quizlet.com, this should direct you to the Internet site. Once the site is open, you'll notice that the screen pops up. Probably one of the most important aspects illustrating how the program works is the search option here at the top of the screen. That's what they can use to find your account and ultimately the sets that you create. If I come up here to the top of the screen and I was to type in my name, or rather my login, if I was to come up here to the top of the screen and type in my login, the site automatically generates the sets that I currently have. Along with this, it illustrates that I have an account. If the students were to click on this account, it would bring them to the specific sets along with the date that they were created and the number of terms that they contain. At the top of the screen, there are 4 other tabs. Studied represents sets that have recently been utilized, showing the date over here that they were last opened, they were last reviewed. Folders gives me as an instructor a place to insert or to organize different sets that I've created. Classes, this is actually a new feature or a newer feature, allows me to place specific sets within a class. So if I was to open up IDT 5th hour, I could have sets for each of the units within that specific class. Terms entered is the overall terms that I've entered since I joined the site, and then signed up is obviously the amount of time that I've been a member of the site. So what exactly can this do for your students, or what exactly can this do to help you increase the retention level of terms and definitions and other aspects of content that you might have in your courses? Well, if I was to go back to created and take a look at the sets that I have, let's just take a look at common engineering disciplines. What the website allows you to do is actually create terms and then definitions that are associated with each of the terms, and you organize those into sets. You can see here that I have the various engineering disciplines labeled on the left-hand side of the screen, along with the definition for each of these disciplines on the right-hand side. Well, looking at it as it is right now, it doesn't look like a very engaging way for the students to review. But really what makes this a useful tool are these tabs up here at the top of the screen. These tabs allow the students to go through and review these terms and definitions in an interesting format. If I was to come over to the left side of the screen and click on flashcards, chemical engineer pops up, which is the term obviously. As a student left clicks here, it flips the term over to the other side like they might do with a flashcard, and the definition pops up. Another unique feature of this is if they actually click on the Internet site will actually read the definition to the student. Along with this, the Internet site will also read the terms.
Chemical engineer.
So this is an engaging way for a student to go through and learn terms and definitions. But that's not all that the site offers. We can also click on Learn. Here the student actually has to spell the term correctly when given the definition. So this makes it a little bit more difficult than just having to match up the term and the definition together. It shows a remaining amount of terms and definitions, the amount that you've gotten incorrect, and then also the amount that you've gotten correct. Speller,
mechanical engineer,
which will require you to type out what you hear. Test, which actually takes the terms and definitions and sets them up in a summative assessment format. So we have fill in the blank, we have multiple choice, true-false questions. The students can go through and take this electronically. You also have the opportunity to print off the test as well. If you would like to regenerate the test to change the order of the terms and definitions, or whether they're written questions, multiple choice, or true false, you also have that opportunity to do that as well. I've actually used this website before to create quizzes and tests that I've given out as summative assessments in the class. The last two options up here are actually games, and these are probably the most common options of the website that I've seen students utilize. If you click on Scatter, and this is probably actually the most popular one, the student has to go through here and actually match a term to a definition. Responsible for creating better processes used to harvest corn. That's an agricultural engineer. So they go on here and they'd find an agricultural engineer, and you left click and drag it over, and then that actually disappears. So the goal is to go through and basically try to make the terms and definitions disappear as quickly as possible. The students enjoy this review because it gives them an opportunity to actually see how quickly they can match all the terms and definitions. The students enjoy this aspect of the program because it's competitive and they're all trying to get the lowest amount of time possible and get all the terms and definitions correct. I haven't utilized Race very much, but this is another game. Basically, it starts scrolling a definition across the screen, and then you have to type in the term here at the bottom. Once you type that in, you can see it, the number of kills is the number that you've gotten correct, the score, and the lives down here. It gives you a certain amount of time to actually get the term typed in correctly. You can see here when this pops up, it then gives you the answer. You have to type it in here, and then it starts again, but you have one less live left to use. During this next portion of training, we'll look at how to properly set up an account, a Quizlet account. If you take a look at the top of the screen, there are several options: login, sign up, and help. Sign up is the option that you're going to want to use the first time that you use the program. If you click on sign up, it gives you several opportunities. The first two opportunities that I would potentially look at utilizing would be Google and Facebook. If you have a Google account, by clicking on Google, it'll ask you for your Google login and your password. You can see mine are popping up right here. If you have a Facebook account, you can also use that login as well. If you have neither of those, or if you do not wish to use those, then you can enter your birthday, your username, your email, your password, verify the password, agree to the terms of service, and sign up. Once you've created an account, you'll be brought to this screen. Anytime thereafter, when you log in, this screen will also pop up as well. On the left-hand side here are really items that you want to take a look at. Your sets and classes gives you the ability to actually organize sets, definitions, and terms into specific categories. At this point, we need to create a set that we will ultimately put in our construction skills 5th hour class. In order to create a new set, we need to come up here to the top of the screen right next to the search tablet and click on Create Set. This is really the meat and the potatoes of the website. This is where not only you enter the topic, a description of the topic, but ultimately your terms and definitions that you're going to utilize as well. I'm going to enter the title for this set as components. I'm going to leave the description out for this one, and I'm going to start by entering. Another important point that I don't want to forget to mention is the fact that it actually asks you to choose a language that you're going to be utilizing. I'm thinking I'm going to be doing this in English, and along with the terms and definitions, this would be in English as well. I've obviously never used English for one and Spanish for another, but for language teachers, this would actually be a really beneficial portion of the program. Once I have the term inputted, then I'm going to enter the definition. I'm just going to add a couple of them to illustrate how this works. Once I have the terms and definitions inputted, the next step will be to save the set. Once the set is saved, it comes up with the terms and the definitions on the right-hand side of the screen. I always complete a dry run just to verify that the terms and the definitions are working correctly. Usually to do this, I'll utilize scatter or flashcards. I'll use flashcards for this demo. I'll take a look at not only the terms, but the definitions to make sure the spelling's correct. So you can see here that I can go back to the set now. I can try over again. I can do some studying with different aspects of the website, whether it be one of these 6 up at the top here. Or we can also have the option to make it easier by not only showing the term, but also showing the definition as well. By coming up here to the top of the screen and clicking on back to set, I can run back to the set. Once the terms and definitions are complete, we can add them to a folder, we can share them, and that's what I'm going to do. So instead of just placing them in a folder, I'm actually going to share them with that construction skills class that I created earlier in the training video. So now, if a student was to be a member of the class or search for the class, they will be able to access that set and complete the review easily. So I hope you feel like you have a general understanding of how the Quizlet website works and have some ideas as how you can integrate it into your class. The next step in this training is actually going to require you to create a login, and then once the login is done, generate a class. Once you've generated a class, develop a set, and once you've developed a set, allow students to utilize the website to review content covered during your class.